There is nothing heavier than the silence of someone you love. You stare at your phone, waiting for the screen to light up with his name, replaying conversations in your head, wondering if you said something wrong. And the longer the silence stretches, the louder the questions become. Does he miss me at all? Is he even thinking of me? Or am I lying awake for someone who sleeps peacefully without me on his mind? It's cruel, isn't it? How silence can feel like rejection without a single word being spoken. And in those quiet hours of the night, when the world has gone still, your mind doesn't stop. It races. It aches. It replays every moment, searching for answers that never come. But here's the haunting question every woman asks herself. Why does his silence feel so powerful? And why does it hurt more than anything he could ever say? You know the heaviness that comes when silence replaces words. It's not just quiet, it's suffocating. It presses down on your chest until you can barely breathe. You sit with your phone in your hand, staring at the screen, willing it to light up with his name. Minutes drag into hours, hours blur into days, and still nothing. And the longer it goes on, the louder the silence becomes. First you try to reason with yourself. Maybe he's busy, maybe he's tired, maybe he just needs space. You repeat those excuses like a mantra, trying to quiet the ache gnawing at you. But when the world around you finally falls silent, when the calls stop, when the night stretches long and empty, that's when your mind refuses to rest. That's when the silence feels unbearable. You lie in bed, staring at the ceiling, replaying every last conversation. Did I say something wrong? Did I push too hard? Did I make him lose interest? Every detail is magnified in your memory. His tone, the pauses, even the words he didn't say. And as you lie there wide awake, you wonder if he's even thinking of you at all. Does your absence weigh on him the way his silence weighs on you? Or is he fast asleep, untouched by the storm he left behind in your heart? It's cruel, the way silence can make you doubt yourself. One unanswered message can unravel your confidence. One night without his voice can leave you questioning if you were ever truly loved. And yet, you keep checking your phone, desperate for even the smallest sign that you still matter. Every vibration makes your heart leap, only to break again when it's not him. The pain cuts deeper because silence isn't neutral. It feels personal. It feels like rejection without words, abandonment without explanation. And no matter how much you tell yourself to stay calm, to stay strong, your heart can't help but ache with the thought that maybe you've already lost him. Sometimes you catch yourself scrolling back through old messages, rereading his sweet words, searching for proof that what you felt was real. You look at photos of happier days, trying to convince yourself that silence doesn't erase memories. But then the doubt comes rushing back. If he loved me then, why doesn't he show it now? If I mattered yesterday, why am I so invisible today? And the worst part is knowing he has no idea. He has no idea that while his silence feels like nothing to him, it feels like everything to you. That while he sleeps peacefully, your mind is racing. That while he goes about his day, your heart is unraveling. He doesn't see that his silence is the thing that keeps you awake at night, replaying every fear you never say out loud. Because the truth is, silence is never just silence. It's absence. It's distance. It's the sound of being forgotten. And for a woman who loves deeply, there is nothing more painful than lying in the dark, wide awake, wondering if the man she loves even notices that she's waiting, hurting, breaking in the quiet he left behind. So why does silence cut so deeply? Why does it have the power to keep you awake at night, even more than an argument would? Why does the absence of words feel louder than anything he could possibly say? The truth is, silence doesn't just mean nothing is happening. For women, silence often feels like a mirror, reflecting every fear, every doubt, every unanswered question. You don't just hear quiet, you hear, maybe I'm not enough. Maybe I've been forgotten. Maybe his love isn't what I thought it was. Silence becomes a space your mind rushes to fill, and what fills it isn't peace. It's stories, insecurities, worries that dig deeper with every passing hour. And here's the part that makes it even harder. Women are wired to connect through communication. Talking, listening, exchanging words. That's how you feel closeness, how you feel reassured, how you feel safe in love. So when that communication disappears, it's not just inconvenient, it feels like love itself is slipping away. The absence of words feels like the absence of care. And so, the silence doesn't stay quiet, it screams. But for many men, silence doesn't carry the same weight. To him, not texting back right away doesn't necessarily mean he doesn't care. It may simply mean he's distracted, compartmentalized, or assuming everything is fine. He doesn't lie awake wondering what his silence means, because in his mind, it doesn't mean anything at all. And that's where the disconnect happens, because while you're drowning in the questions his silence creates, he's often unaware there are questions at all. This is the hidden truth most women don't see right away. Silence isn't always about love, it's about perception. To you, his silence feels like rejection. To him, it might feel like normal space. But that difference doesn't make your pain any less real. Because what he doesn't realize is that silence is not neutral to the woman who loves him. Silence feels like distance. Silence feels like neglect. Silence feels like being unseen. And yet, there's another layer here that's even harder to face. Deep down, part of why silence hurts so much is because it exposes a truth you've tried to bury. You want reassurance. You want proof. You want to know that when you're not right in front of him, you still matter. And when that proof doesn't come, your mind doesn't rest. It runs wild. It tells you stories you can't shake. It makes you question not just him, but yourself. That's the cruel part, isn't it? His silence doesn't just make you doubt his feelings. It makes you doubt your own worth. It makes you replay everything you said, everything you did, wondering if you pushed too hard, cared too much, loved in ways that made you easier to leave. And the longer the silence lingers, the heavier those doubts grow. But here's what often goes unnoticed. Silence can reveal more than words ever could. Because while he may not see it, his silence is showing you something. Something about him, something about how he handles love, something about the way he values or takes for granted the heart you've given him. And sometimes, that truth is harder to look at than the silence itself. Because what if his silence isn't just absence? What if it's a reflection of how secure he feels in keeping you? What if it's his way of assuming you'll still be there, no matter how long he disappears? And what if the reason it keeps you awake at night isn't just because you're waiting on him, but because you're starting to realize that silence itself is telling you more than his words ever did? But here's the part most women never realize. When his silence weighs on you like a storm in the middle of the night, it's easy to feel powerless. You lie there, staring at your phone, waiting for a message that doesn't come, and the questions echo louder with every hour. But the truth is, you don't have to let his silence define your worth or dictate your peace. You have more power than you realize, and the way you choose to handle this moment can either drain you or remind you of the strength you already carry inside. The first step is to protect your heart by not rushing to fill the silence with your own noise. Emotionally, this means resisting the urge to chase after answers that may only leave you feeling emptier. It's about remembering that reaching out 20 times won't soothe the ache. It will only make you feel like you're begging for something that should be given freely. Practically, this means putting down the phone when you feel that desperate urge to send another text or call again. Imagine this. You've already sent a message and he hasn't replied. Instead of following up with, "Are you ignoring me?" or "Why aren't you answering?" you take a deep breath, set your phone aside, and decide, "I've already spoken. Now I'll let my silence speak too." In that moment, you're not just withholding words, you're protecting your dignity. The second step is to redirect your energy toward yourself, because nothing is more painful than allowing someone else's silence to steal your entire world. Emotionally, this means reminding yourself that your value doesn't shrink just because he isn't showing up. You are still whole, still worthy, still more than enough. Practically, it looks like choosing to do something that reminds you of your strength, calling a friend who makes you laugh, diving into a project you've been putting off, or simply treating yourself to something that makes you feel alive. Picture this. Instead of lying awake scrolling through his old texts, you pick up a journal and start writing your feelings, or you decide to take yourself out for coffee the next morning. Suddenly, his silence isn't the center of your world. You are. And when you center yourself, the ache loses some of its grip. The third step is to use your voice when the time is right, but to use it with calm strength rather than desperation. Emotionally, this means giving yourself permission to express what you feel without apologizing for it. You're not asking too much by wanting consistency, presence, or effort. Practically, it looks like waiting until you're grounded, then saying something direct but steady, like, "When you go silent, it makes me feel invisible. If this relationship matters to you, I need better communication." Imagine this. Instead of snapping at him with anger when he finally calls, you take a breath and calmly tell him how his silence affects you. That moment shifts the energy. You're no longer begging for his attention. You're stating your truth with dignity, and whether he rises to meet it or not, you've honored yourself. And the final step, the one that gives you the most freedom, is to be willing to walk away if the silence becomes a pattern that erodes your soul. Emotionally, this means valuing your peace more than the comfort of keeping him. It's about realizing that love without presence isn't love at all, and you deserve more than crumbs of attention. Practically, this might look like saying to yourself, "If he can't show up for me consistently, I will not keep waiting in the dark." Imagine this. You've had this conversation before and nothing changes. Instead of staying trapped in the cycle, you choose to step back, to close the chapter with grace, and to free yourself for the kind of love that doesn't go silent when you need it most. That choice isn't easy, but it's the clearest expression of self-respect. None of these steps are about punishing him. They're about honoring yourself. They're about showing that his silence may hurt, but it will never erase your worth. And the moment you start living with that truth, the long nights of waiting begin to lose their power. Because you'll no longer be the woman begging for a reply. You'll be the woman who knows her value, whether the phone lights up or not. There comes a moment after the long nights of staring at your phone, after the heavy hours of waiting for a reply that never comes, when something inside of you shifts. The silence that once felt like a punishment begins to feel like clarity. You start to realize that his silence was never a reflection of your worth. It was a reflection of how little effort he was willing to give. And when that truth finally sinks in, something powerful awakens in you. Because the truth is, silence can hurt, but it can also teach. It teaches you what you will and will not tolerate. It teaches you the difference between being wanted and being taken for granted. And it teaches you that your value doesn't dim just because someone else refuses to see it. His silence doesn't erase your laughter. It doesn't erase the way you love with your whole heart. It doesn't erase the fire inside you that deserves to be cherished, not ignored. You should feel proud of yourself for surviving those nights, for enduring the ache of uncertainty and still standing, for choosing, even when it hurt, to protect your dignity rather than beg for answers. That strength is not small, it's extraordinary. Because there are women who spend a lifetime silencing their own hearts just to keep someone else close. But you are learning to honor yours, even when it feels like the harder path. And here's the hope you need to hold on to. The right love will never keep you awake with silence. The right love won't leave you guessing. It won't make you feel invisible in the dark. The right love will show up with words, with presence, with consistency. It will feel safe, it will feel steady, it will let you rest at night knowing you are chosen. Not sometimes, not halfway, but fully. So instead of letting his silence haunt you, let it guide you. Let it remind you that you deserve a love that speaks, a love that reassures, a love that doesn't disappear when you need it most. And when you carry yourself with that kind of self-respect, you stop chasing after unanswered messages, you stop begging for scraps of attention, you start walking with the quiet confidence that your worth is not up for debate. And that energy, that unshakable knowing, is what makes you magnetic, not just to others, but to yourself. You are not defined by the ones who went silent. You are defined by the strength it took to hear that silence and still believe in yourself. You are defined by the courage it takes to keep your heart open, even after it's been wounded. You are defined by the dignity you carry in choosing yourself over waiting endlessly in the dark. So lift your head, take a deep breath and remind yourself, you are more than someone's silence. You are more than unanswered questions. You are more than restless nights spent doubting your worth. You are a woman who deserves to be heard, cherished, and seen. And one day, you'll look back at these nights, not with pain, but with pride, because they shaped you into the woman who refuses to settle for less than the love she deserves. And if you carry nothing else from this, let these words stay with you. His silence doesn't define you, it reveals him. The right love won't keep you awake wondering, it will let you rest in certainty. You are not here to beg for words, you are here to be treasured in the quiet and in the noise.